It's his father, Charlie Bothell. Charlie, we are getting reports that your son has been found in your basement. Sir?
Yo, gang, bro, look at his face.
Danny on the beat, boy.
I'm gonna keep it 3,000. Hold on, y'all. Back-to-back uploads. Come on. I'm telling you, we better be a little bit more consistent. We better become a little different. But right now, it is time for some true crime. I know it's been a minute since we had a true crime video, but I ain't gonna lie, I've been waiting, man. We've been on the horror stories, but let's get some true crime. But the true crime video that we're gonna be looking at today is they found his son in the basement live on television. And it's coming to you by my boy Zevi. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Charles, you see, a few years back he had a problem. His son went missing. But then they found his son while he was being interviewed live on Nancy Grace. Nancy said, Charles, he said, yeah. She said, they found your son in your basement. He said, in my boy began to stutter. Boy began to sweat. And then he says something interesting. He says, no, they checked my basement. The FBI checked my basement. Everybody checked my basement. And he was not lying about this. You see, the story's a little stranger than it may seem, but to understand it, we got to go back a little bit to when Charles first reported that his son went missing. He called the police. He said, look, my son missing. Now, Charles is black, so they didn't take him seriously. So he had to call them a few more times, and they said, fine. The police pull up, they look around, they said, oh, his son missing for real. So they checked the whole apartment complex. Charles and his wife, who's not the kid's biological mother, look at the police. They say, so did y'all find him? The police said, nah, we couldn't find him. They said, oh, okay. The police said, okay, so y'all are suspects for real. They said, well, why are we suspects? The police said, no, don't take it personally. We just like to look at everybody. So y'all want to take a lie detector test? The father says, yes, I would love to take one. Sure. He takes one. The results are inconclusive. All right. So they look at his wife. They said, you want to take one? She said, nah, I'm straight. They said,
now you know. I ain't gonna lie. I know you need evidence, but me, that's all I need. Like, I would have locked up right there. I'm just saying. I need
that's
somebody.
A little weird, but let's just move on. She said, nah, because y'all be mixing up the test for... They said, no, we moving on. Don't worry about it. Now, at this point, it's been a few days. So Charles moving around. He on the news. He's saying, look, my kid's missing. Like, anybody that can help, please help us out. The FBI this time goes to his apartment complex. They start searching around. Charles said, y'all searching around again? They said, yeah. We just wanted to be, like, completely sure. You know what I mean? Charles said, nah, I feel that. But, like, damn, y'all got nowhere else to look for real? The FBI said, nah, like, okay, we can't find nothing here again. All right, now you good. We be back, though. We be back. Now, the reason why the FBI and police kept searching around the house area is because Charles, well, the kid's name is Charles, too, by the way. So we're going to call him Charles V to avoid confusion. Charles V, his whole life was wrong.
Dang, the 5th? Y'all named 4 other people Charles? Y'all couldn't think of no other name but Charles. Golly, Charles 5 times?
Revolved around Charles, his dad, Charles IV, and the home area. The kid never left the house. He was homeschooled. So police are thinking, look, this kid's mindset is, this is my whole world. He must be in the area. And here's where things start to get wicked.
Uh-oh.
Charles IV goes on Nancy Grace. Charles IV said, so like I was saying, my kid has been missing for about 11 days now. And Nancy said, hold on one second. I'm getting a little report real quick. Somebody on her line says, girl, you gonna want to hear this. They found the kid in the basement. She said, who basement? They said,
wait.
Charles IV, the dude sitting, you see this dude looking stuck and stupid? His basement. She said, okay, give me 1 second. Charles, I have a report just coming in. He said, what's the report? She said, I'm gonna let you know, just wait. They found your kid in your basement. He said, she said, excuse me, sir.
Hold on. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta see this clip like in person. Hold on, I gotta see the actual clip. Hold on.
It's his father, Charlie Bothell. Charlie, we're getting reports that your son has been found in your basement. Sir?
Yo, King, bro, look at his face.
That your son has been found in your basement.
Gang, hold on, I'm cramping. Gang, it's either one or two things. All right, either one, he actually like shot, and either two, he like, dang, they caught me. Oh my gosh, hold on, we gotta, yo, we gotta get back to the video. All right, we back.
He said, nah, the mic. He said, you found him in the basement? Bro begins to stutter. He begins to stammer. He begins to, quite literally, I'm not exaggerating, start patting his chest. So people saying, nah, that's a little strange. We don't like how Charles moving for real. He said, everybody searched the basement. That's so weird. The FBI said, and we searched the third time. Caught you slipping. He said, man, ooh, my fault. Man, who's slipping? I'm just glad y'all found my son for real. Now I know what you're thinking. Why couldn't they find him the first few times they went through the basement? Well, that's because this basement turns out ain't no ordinary basement. When they went deeper through the basements, they found tunnels, and these tunnels connected to all the apartments. Through one of the corridors, they found the kid behind a bunch of appliances. He was barricaded in. The police said, nah, it's very unlikely that he could have barricaded himself in. But it was still a little strange because the police were like, nah, we're pretty sure we checked throughout this whole basement though. So when they called the kid up, they said, nah, we're pretty sure we checked this area. He said, y'all might have. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't in the basement the whole time. So here's where things started to get wickeder. You see, Charles tells the police that his stepmom put him in the basement for not completing his workouts. And his workouts consist of hundreds of push-ups, hundreds of sit-ups, a bunch of running.
You're telling me she put him in a basement because he didn't complete his workouts. I hope y'all get what I'm putting down.
A lot for a kid. So they go to the stepmom. They say, look, so he was talking about you put him there because he didn't complete his workouts. Stepmom said, look, let me show y'all something. See, he was supposed to do 4,000 steps on the elliptical. He only did 3,000. They said, did you put him in the basement? She said, huh? Oh, no. Now that still leaves the mystery of why police couldn't find him the first few times they searched. Well, what Charles V said, the kid, he said, look, she left him there, but a lot of times he would leave. Remember, the tunnels connect to each apartment building. So he would go to his apartment building, take a shower, chill, walk around a little bit, then go back into the basement. So the police most likely searched at times where he was around and about. And Charles V said he never came out because he didn't want to get in trouble. Now, Charles V's story continues to get worse. He said they would always continuously put hands on him. And worse than that, they used a PVC pipe on him. The police took him to the children's hospital and they found marks all over him. So they go back to Charles IV and the stepmom. They said, huh? Nah, he lying. Police said, all right, let's go to court. Now, Charles IV was eager to take it to trial. He said, let's go to trial. He said, all this is absolutely false. The kid, Charles V, is just saying this because he don't want to live with us. He want to live with his biological mother. And the only reason Charles V moved with Charles IV and his stepmom in the first place is because he was having trouble in school. So his biological mom sent him over again to the dad. The dad, Charles IV, immediately pulls him out of school and says, look, I'm gonna just homeschool him. And it seems like this is where those strange disciplinary actions were coming in, where it came to all the workouts he had to do. He had to stand in the corner for hours and keep his hand up. Now, the issue with this case is it began to turn to like a he said, she said type of case. So it started dragging out and getting really long. That being said, it was so long that Charles IV, he started running out of money. So he couldn't pay his attorney like that. So he said, all right, I'm gonna take a plea deal. He said, I'll admit to the fact that I did use a PVC pipe on him. The prosecutor said, all right. They also gave the stepmom a plea deal, but the nature of her plea deal isn't disclosed. As far as I could tell, for the stepmom, she just had to be out of trouble for about 6 months and she was good. And well, they were found guilty and lost custody of Charles V and 2 other kids that I did not mention in the story. As far as I could tell, the other kids seemed fine. It was only Charles V that was dealing with what he was dealing with. But again, the court said, let's play it safe and just take all the kids away. Now, something I didn't mention before that I want you to take into consideration now is during the court case, it was mentioned that Charles had actually ran away before. In Charles's words, Charles V, excuse me, he was dealing with what he was dealing with the parents, with the workouts and the extreme disciplinary methods. So he dipped beforehand, but he turned back up. Charles V says he never told anybody anything because his stepmom said, look, I get you and nobody will find out. You're home.
What? So she's the real villain. Hold up.
School, this is your whole world. But of course, we go back to the he says, she said thing. Stepmom says, no, I never said any of that. Charles V, just wanted to go back and live with his biological mother. He didn't like living with us. They said that's why he ran away that first time and why Charles IV and his wife, believe that he ran to the basement and was hiding the second time. Now, a fair amount of times, again, cases like this just go to plea deals because there's no concrete evidence. There's, again, he said, she said, but the concrete evidence they did have was the marks on him, right? So that was the best thing they could do in terms of the plea deal. As for what happened to Charles, well, he's actually in his 20s now and he seems to be doing fine.
Make your browser fast.
So pretty much, not, like, we don't have anything. We don't have. Bro, what a freaking waste, bro. What a freaking waste. So all this stuff happened. We don't even know what really happened for real. All right, whatever, bro. Hey, man, it's your boy 3 Stacks. You know I give you 3,000. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I love y'all. God bless you. And on to the next one. Peace.